guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna be reacting to a video called touring the most expensive house in the world. This is in Normandy, France, and I'm very excited. Actually, I don't know how does it look like? I'm guessing it's maybe a castle, I don't know, or like everything's made out of gold, I don't know, but I'm super excited to check this out. So comment, like, and subscribe. It's an actual palace, okay. Are they arriving in some sort of like luxury car? Wouldn't surprise me. Is that like a Porsche or something?
The top out-of-sight class. Those with immense wealth who live in private luxury, barely glimpsed by the average civilian. This is old money that echoes across generations, weaving the fabric of our collective history and forming the very institutions of our modern world.
Just a car. This place is so big. This is very confusing. Oh my god, I love that fountain.
Welcome to Chateau du Champ de Bataille. So welcome to one of the most expensive homes in the entire world. We're here in Normandy, France, where behind me, that's right, that is one of the most expensive homes ever in the world. And in this episode, we're getting a tour of the house, the property, the whole thing. This is the largest private garden in all of Europe, and it's actually so big that we need a golf cart to tour the space. Bonjour.
It's gonna take you forever.
This is Zachary with Barnes International, and he will be touring us around the grounds.
Bonjour à tous, welcome everyone.
All right, let's roll.
Let's go.
So the estate encompasses over 300 acres of land, consisting of 6 main structures on the property that we'll be touring. The grotto and the Indian palace.
Grotto.
We've got the main chateau and the gardens, then the Greek theater and the greenhouse.
Okay.
We're actually staying overnight here at the chateau, but more on that later. Now before we immerse ourselves into this world of unfathomable wealth and reveal the price tag of this listing, we need to understand the history.
Is it on sale?
Chateau du Champ de Bataille, or the Battlefield Castle, was built in 1652 by royal architect Louis Laveau, who takes his place in the history books for designing the Palace of Versailles, where the royal French family lived a mere 20 years after this. This chateau is actually the prototype inspiration for Versailles. Famous French gardener André Lenotre, who created the Gardens of Versailles, also designed the gardens here at this chateau. So this is a piece of living history. Now during the French Revolution, the chateau was stormed and the furniture was sold throughout France. The home then passed through various owners over the years, even serving as a field hospital during World War II.
How big is this thing?
Then in 1992, the current owner, Jacques Garcia, world-famous French architect and designer, purchased the rundown chateau and has since dedicated the last 30 years of his life restoring this palace to its former glory. And more importantly, filling this chateau with priceless art belonging directly to the French royal family.
I have to say, I don't even want to imagine like the tremendous work that it has taken this man to actually, because I'm guessing he wanted to recover like probably all the lost art and all the things that they sold throughout the years. I think that's probably impossible, but I'm guessing because he's an architect, he was going to like, he wasn't going to do a huge remodel of like, oh, everything will be glass. No, of course he wants to like restore, and he wanted to have like a decor that was sort of like similar to the original. And it's a nightmare. I'm thinking just like the nightmare situation. Probably he has a team, but I don't know. Like this is an insane thing to actually do with your life. Incredible, but insane.
Everything in here is authentic. For example, these 4 vases here were gifted to Napoleon by the King of Sweden, and they're here in this house.
Okay.
This is an actual human body mummified from Egypt in this house in France. That is wild.
Why would I want to live there? Purchases a piece of new art every day. Now,
How
the
does he
actual
fund this
price
thing?
value of this home, it's nearly impossible to put a number on. But recently, an undisclosed private offer in the multiple 10-figure range was made to purchase the home, and it was declined by Jacques. Rather, it's his dream that the doors of the chateau be open to the world, ensuring that
he wants
future
to make it like a
generations can
museum.
experience the magic and the mystery of this royal French treasure. And I'm working with Barnes International to market this home for rent. So if you're looking to rent out this chateau,
you can rent it.
please contact me
For, like,
via
an
email
event.
in the description of this video. And with that, we're starting our tour here in the formal gardens, which are
I'm wondering who actually
absolutely
rents this thing.
colossal.
So
guessing
we're
it's
now
for
at the
events.
center of the property.
Yeah. Like I'm
What's the
saying
significance about this behind me?
So the exact place where we are now, it's the perfect middle of the castle. That means there is 500 meters on that part and 500 also on this one.
So back
That's
in
one-
1992, all of
that
what
many
we're looking at
kilometers.
right now was just an overgrown field lost to time. Until Jacques found the original garden design plans in the chateau. He then excavated and
my
recreated
God.
these gardens exactly how they would have been almost 400 years ago.
That's incredible.
First, he dug a 550-meter-long canal, which is definitely a defining feature of the property to feed the vast network of elaborate fountains and water features, such as this
fountains does he
circular
have?
entrance fountain with these gilded statues of dolphins emerging from the sea, surrounding an ornate globe rising in the center. Even where we're standing right now at the center of the property, you've got these wild clawfoot soaking tubs overflowing with water.
And the cost to turn on these fountains is apparently 20,000 euro.
Can you
just to
swim there?
turn on and run the fountains here. So you could have a jet ski in here. That's how
But you
large this
wouldn't.
is.
It
You wanna
takes a
preserve it.
full-time staff of 15 of the best gardeners in all of Europe to maintain
This
and
is
create these elaborate
insane.
garden designs, consisting of stunning geometrical
because you have to
patterns
maintain a hedge.
and even human-sized hedge mazes throughout the property.
On the side of the castle, we have a lawn with chess pieces that are probably 8-9 foot tall here. And look
Jesus.
how perfect these are. I'm in shock that they can actually do this. The
topiary?
role of the gardener here at the chateau is, I'd say, the most important
Never
one because
ends.
of how much acreage we have.
And one of the
course.
most intricate and prominent design features in the gardens
you
are
like,
the
took care of
symmetrical
it, like, you
lattice
kept
design
going out.
box gardens leading up to the front patio of the chateau. Now, the garden is based on the principle of imposing order and symmetry over the land.
And back in the 17th century, the number one way a king could show his flex and his power over the land was symmetry, controlling nature. So if you notice, all the hedges
Still, I think
are
that's
squares
very powerful.
because you don't find a square like that in nature. And I think that is just fascinating that they had
It's
the
really-
ability
it's really
to do that
perfect
way
shapes.
back then, and that it's
They
been
don't
preserved
exist in real
today
life.
with this.
In nature.
It's kind of mind-boggling. I also noticed the hedges are cut in the shape of a wave, which are at least 30 feet high. I think the biggest thing I want to drive home is the scale of this place and how you really need a person walking through the gardens to show the whole 45 acres. Like this
How much is that in like
I've never seen a house like this ever.
Space, I don't know.
think
I mean-
anyone has, because typically stuff like this is
Compare it to
off
a
market,
city, please.
especially in France and the Paris market. It's very private, and in the past 3 years, Zachary was saying that they're becoming a bit more public facing, using things like social media to sell. So here we are. Damn. There's also a theater here.
Yeah, so it's inspired by a Greek temple because during the 17th century in Europe, the archaeologists, they just discovered all the Greek temple and everything. So
What's in
that
fashion?
they were trying to reproduce it in all the biggest home, like this
I can
castle,
see
for
it,
example.
yeah.
Wow. So back in the day when they discovered the Greek theater, the wealthiest of the wealthiest wanted to say, hey,
I can
I
build that
want to
in
have
my
a Greek
house.
theater at my home.
Yeah, because for them it was amazing, this discovery. It was completely new. They didn't knew this was existing because it was like almost 1,000 years before them.
And
Yeah,
this
of course.
is the living stage in the Greek theater. So essentially, they made this garden a replica of the original Greek theater because back in the 17th century, it was so
Interesting.
expensive to travel the world where those who were at the upper echelons of wealth would bring the world to their property.
Of course.
So that's what you're seeing here. And it's pretty spectacular.
It
For
is.
instance, even behind us, we have ivy, which has been cut to mimic the architecture of the ancient Greek theater. That's
I love it.
ridiculous.
I love that idea.
mentioned that there's 15 gardeners that maintain this land. They planted flowers that start blooming in May and end in October. So the
Oh my
entire
God.
year
You
you
have
have
flowers.
bloomed flowers. And that's where that price tag of $1 billion comes from, because you really can't put a price on this
$1 billion?
because it's history and it's art.
That's insane.
There
And I was
is
going to say
an
15
Indian-
gardeners
what-
seems little.
Indian
but
temple,
what they're doing.
Indian palais in French.
There's an Indian palais on
Okay,
the
there's an
property.
Indian palais, a Greek theater. What? It's everything's very like inspired by the world. And they have to travel by boat to get there. That's insane. Oh my god, I named your pool. Love it. Oh my god, please tell me those are not real
Essentially, Jacques brought in,
animals.
I believe it was what, 5 containers?
600.
600 containers
Yeah.
of actual materials from India to build this palace.
Oh my god.
In 1992.
In 1992, apparently
This man
he has
way too
parties where he
rolly.
brings in elephants,
Yeah.
lions, tigers,
Real
and bears.
tigers?
And the only way to go from here to the Indian Palais is this boat.
I mean, you could walk around, but we're gonna take
Okay.
the boat. So this is
It's
the
gonna take them
Indian
forever to
Palais.
walk.
Yeah, the
Like,
Indian
we need to go
Palais,
by that by
and
boat.
all of what you see here is really from India. It's not a replica. Jacques Garcia, the owner,
What is that
he
weird
brought
sculpture?
all
Is
of
it
this
a dog?
by shipping containers.
I'm at a loss for words for how large the scale of his thinking is. The fact that, like, it looks like we walked into India. It looks like we are in India right now. So there's
I've
a
never been
house
to
in
India.
the
I don't
Indian
really know much
palace.
about it.
Jacques, when he come here, he's living there.
So welcome to the living room of the Indian Palais, and just
Okay,
take a
where
look around.
the guy lives.
It's one thing to hear 500 shipping containers, but to see all of the artifacts. Like, come look at this. Look at this
Very
leopard.
opulent. Oh no,
Look at this thing. I don't really have
Please tell me
words
it's not
for
real.
this. Also, because we don't know the value of everything. I want to mention that in the price point of this chateau, I believe we were told there's $1 million worth of art alone
Of course, because they sell it
in the
with,
chateau.
you know.
And you can see just
The
from around me,
furniture.
we have look at this chair. I don't want to touch anything either.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't touch it either.
Hookah
I'd be
lounge.
scared of damaging anything. An
Oh
elephant.
my gosh. What?
What?
You know that's real too.
Oh no,
There's no
I was
way
so
that's
scared.
fake. What's the most impressive is a lot of times I see homes where people have a theme and it's replications
looks
or
real.
knockoffs. But the fact that this is all legitimate historical antiques is just, man, it's beyond my pay grade. I don't even know what to say about this. Just
Yeah.
look at all these artifacts.
Have you already seen a property like this before?
Not as historically, but definitely where there's theme.
I'm just wondering, like, if obviously they want to sell this, how do you even begin to like categorize like everything in it? Because if I'm buying the house in the hypothetical, in my wildest dreams, I'm buying this. I need a list, right, of all the pieces of art and all the furniture that I'm actually buying, especially when it comes to like those incredible like huge costs. Who on earth is going to catalog everything? It's like, okay, so the Indian Palace, that's this, and that. Like, it's an amazing feat. Like, everything. And the more I think about it, the more insane the whole thing, like, is. You know, and this is crazy.
Rooms, but
Yeah.
nothing like this.
Yeah, it's the most expensive home in the world, but I think this is priceless.
It's hard to put a value on
Yeah.
everything
Of
we've
course,
seen. So check
technically
out
it's
this
priceless,
hallway.
but not really. It costs
Apparently
money.
now we're going to the indoor swimming pool in the Indian
How big is the
Palais.
Indian Palace?
Oh, whoa. Look at this.
Okay, what is he? What?
Holy crap.
What's books?
I'm going to go up here. This is a
Oh my God.
library built
I'm
into
scared
this
of
hallway.
like,
Blake,
do not
actually,
touch anything.
check this out up here. These books
Yeah, what
so
are those
old,
books?
I'm not going to touch a single thing.
Yeah, I'm scared of the thing.
This is also the
disintegrating
kind of
in my
home
hands.
where you could spend at least a week here, minimum, and still not explore everything. Like, what is that iron door? Where's that go?
Let's go to that. I can't live there. I'm gonna get
I
lost.
smell chlorine, so I guess we're getting close.
I love this. Actually, I love this area.
Oh my gosh. Look at this.
Indoor swimming pool.
Oh my god, this is my favorite part. I wanna swim there. I wanna go there. Oh my god, they are like, you can lie there and just like go and take a swim. Oh my god, this is incredible. I want this. Oh my god.
Should I? Apparently you
Yes,
can walk around
you should.
and check out the back of the pool. Like if you wanted to come here and dive in, there's a hallway that goes around the entire pool. We're now checking out
Oh my God.
some of the
I wanna swim
bedrooms.
there.
Apparently there's 10 bedrooms.
Only
in
the
Indian
palace.
Palace.
In the Indian Palace. Okay.
Just look at this, look at that.
Oh my God, of course it has like banquet tables. Because
Exactly
obviously
went
it's gonna
back
have its
this
own
way.
kitchen.
We're gonna find him now. Like look at the tapestries here.
And they're all antiques.
Another
Obviously,
little
like
library
handmade.
sitting area. More tapestries and a never-ending hallway. At the end of the hall, this is one of the
It's very
bedrooms.
narrow.
One
I'm
of
surprised
10.
by that.
Again,
Oh, it's
everything
not that tall.
imported in from India. It's all historic. And look at this bathroom.
I'm gonna want to see the
Divided
bathroom.
by this solid stone soaking tub here in the middle. I'm having a hard time fathoming how someone over the course of 30 years brought all this here and planned all this
He used
out.
to have a
Also,
team,
like,
right?
I'm
Obviously, he
afraid
didn't do it
to bump
all
into
on
anything
his
by
own.
accident just because
You're gonna
like we
break a
mentioned,
vase
the
that costs
price-
like $1 million.
dollars, but it could be more than that just because all the art hasn't really been evaluated. And now we're gonna go check
Okay.
out. Well, wait till you see this. So I was told that this is the swimming pool.
Another
The swimming pool is 100 meters long, so that is 2 Olympic-length swimming pools.
Okay.
And the cost to turn on these fountains is apparently 20,000 euro just to turn on and run the fountains here.
Crazy.
I'm truly speechless. You could have a jet ski in here. That's how large this is. And we haven't even seen the main chateau yet. This is just one palace on the land. Right across from the Indian
How much
Palais
would it cost you
is
to
the
maintain this
grotto.
house yearly?
Now in 2020 during the pandemic, the owner got bored. And while all of us were in our
He got
homes quarantining,
bored?
watching the news, he built a grotto with a waterfall cascading down volcanic lava rock, which leads down
From where?
into... Our guide actually took us down here last night. Check this out at nighttime.
Oh my God, at night must be incredible. Oh,
This is Ghost Hunters.
Guys,
okay, I thought there were more light.
we're staying
Okay.
overnight in the castle.
We're ready. Flashlights off.
Actually, good lights here.
Yeah.
Now it's turning into a
What?
YouTube tour.
The hell?
This is a night.
Yeah. Keep it rolling.
This is kind of scary. Very, very impressive.
So when do we get sacrificed?
During
Yeah,
COVID,
this looks-
he was like
Looks like a
bored
cult.
and he didn't know what to do. And
Okay,
so that's
sure. It's a
idea
very
came
normal
up
thing to do.
He made it.
of
Building a
making this place.
grotto.
Yeah.
You did that too during COVID, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
In the daytime, it's a bit different. So you head on down.
Yeah, by daylight,
Into this-
looks very different. Which is
I don't
normal.
even know what you would call this. To this temple-like.
For a sacrifice.
The ceilings in here are at least 50 feet. It has a dead center circle in the middle, and all around me are the statues of Greek
my
gods
God, I look
with mirrors
beside it.
behind them, all petrified wood here, lining the columns, supporting the structure, with again that volcanic stone built in around the statues here. The outside of the structure is meant to mimic a volcano, and then you have waterfalls entering through all the sides here, flowing down the stairs,
I love this.
leading into the center basin
I
here,
wouldn't know what to do
where
with
you have
it,
the
but I love
circular
it.
stage. And even if you look up, look at all the carvings of the faces along the ceiling.
that
I was
makes
told
it
that the
really
owner has some pretty crazy
creepier.
parties in here. Comment down below what you think they use this room for. So
I'll
this is the
reserve.
final
You're
structure
right,
on the
dude.
45
I
acres
don't know. I
of
don't know what
gardens
they
that
do
we've
there.
toured so far. We haven't even seen the castle. We're about to enter what they call the greenhouse.
Oh my God, it's like a jungle. There's so much water. I love it. How much it maintenance, like the people, not just gardeners, the people that keep this clean.
I haven't seen it yet, so we're gonna get my reactions. Apparently this is the spot, so here we go.
Is it closed? It's like an enclosure. Okay, it is.
Oh my god. So this is the room off of the entrance where we have all these blue vases and just more art. More
my
art
God.
from all around the world
love
here.
everything's the same
Again, worth over $1 million. And now the main
The
event.
huge mirror.
When they said it was a greenhouse, I didn't think it would be this. There's a floating bridge with waterfalls on either side with tropical
Okay.
plants everywhere.
It looks like a film or something. I don't know what
This is insane.
Explain it.
This is crazy.
It's crazy.
The trees are growing out of the stonework. There's sculptures everywhere. There's trees growing out of the floor with holes cut in the carpet here.
What is that
with
for?
this
What's a
statue
carpet?
of, I don't even know what, but holy crap.
Yeah. Those are
This
like
is just
huge
ridiculous.
trees. It's ridiculous.
And apparently, I was told that the piano
Look at
right
that huge
behind me
vase in the
here,
background.
this is Steinway's piano. So you
A
know
very
Steinway and
expensive
Sons?
piano.
This is not the Sons, this is his original piano. Wow.
Okay. Oh my god, do not even no. Oh, he knows. Okay, he knows he knows something. It's like, do not even attempt to like use the piano.
This is crazy. So this is actually, how much does this cost? And I was told that these ferns here,
Way too much.
these ferns are apparently 400 years old, which is as old as the castle itself. This is incredible.
Where did they came
Say
from?
hi to everyone. So this is the whole team. It's not just me walking around here. We're getting all the information. This is the team at Barnes. My girlfriend Geraldine. This is Zachary at Barnes.
There's another room here.
A whole nother room.
Yeah.
The sculpture is
It's
bigger
not
than
crazy
I
enough.
thought.
I've never seen a garden like this. So in the wintertime, when it's a little depressing and cold, you can come into this garden here and just be transported into the tropics.
Yeah.
I can't describe to enough the intricacy of all the
Do they have
thought that
orchids?
went
What
into
kind
the
of- what
specific
kind of
plants
do they
here.
have?
The design of the water, the lily pads, it's really something else.
Oh
and
my God,
it's
I hadn't realized
hard
they
to
have
put a
lily
price on
pads.
this. And at the very end here, there's a platform.
More sculptures.
Oh, wow, look at this. With an aerial view top down of the
Of
garden.
the whole thing. Oh my god.
This is unreal.
They have like even palm trees. I'm wondering if they just like it was grown plants that they sort of like imported into like the greenhouse. Obviously they didn't grow them out themselves because it's not gonna you don't have you have 30 years, but like it takes a real long time for plants to actually grow. Oh my god, gardeners also have to take care of this. Not just like the hedges and the whole maintenance. They also have to maintain this. So much work.
We're actually spending the night at the castle. I wouldn't say it's scary.
I wouldn't say it's scary at all either.
It's a little
Really?
scary.
Why?
Our room didn't have a light, and they actually bought up a floor lamp just
They
because
don't
it was
have
so dark
electricity?
in here.
Why do you not have electricity?
All right, it's now the next morning. Not the best sleep of my life, but not the worst.
Why? Oh my god, those huge, like, what are those? Is there horses?
Day 2 at the chateau. Dressed back up, had my coffee. Staying overnight here, it's really giving us the experience of what it would be like to actually own this. And even with the weather changes, we've got a bit more moody feel today, overcast.
Yeah, it's overcast.
But I'm excited. Let's get into it and start the tour off. We've seen the Indian Palace. We've seen the greenhouse, all 45 acres of the garden. Are you ready to see inside the chateau?
Yeah, I can't
Check
believe
this
that
out.
we're still
So
haven't seen the main
We
attraction.
have the royal foyer here with all this stone on the ground, the columns. The home was built in 1651 and took 10 years to complete. It has 40
Okay.
bedrooms, 5 living rooms, 2 dining rooms. The square footage, they don't even know. And we're only actually touring 1/4 of this castle. This
Why?
side over here is private. The owner lives on this side, so we're touring, I guess you
That's
could
not
call
that
it
he
the
does
public
live here.
side, but it's still pretty crazy. Let's start heading up
Oh
the
my
stairs
god, I
off of
can't
the
believe this guy
foyer.
lives here.
Look at this
It's so
stairwell.
big that of course you're not gonna
Like
have a
triple
party there.
width
No one's gonna
stairwell
know.
here. Look at this stonework, the wrought iron railings, statement stairwell if I have ever seen one. So onto the second floor here, we're gonna head off to my right. I mean, and I wanna also point out the artifacts. I'm not gonna actually touch this because it took
Do not.
30 years to collect all the art in here. And again, I wanna mention the art is worth north of $1 million. Off of the stairwell, welcome
I
to
wouldn't touch
the
anything, I'd be so
formal
scared.
dining room reception area. This is where the king would greet his guests. It's also where they would feast. You notice all the silverware. I want to point out again, everything in here is authentic. For
I was gonna
example,
say, it looks
these
smaller
4
than I
vases
thought.
here were gifted
It's the
to
same thing to say.
Napoleon by the King of Sweden. And they're
Okay.
here in this house. As we go out throughout the home, we'll point out a few more artifacts. But this is the entertaining room for when your guests arrive to the chateau. You've got views there.
Yeah, that
to the
table
south,
was kind of
the
smaller.
north of
I
the
was expecting
courtyard,
something bigger.
Juliet balconies. The ceilings are about 30 feet high or 10 meters. And
They're
you can just
so
see the
tall.
scale of this room. It is massive. Now from the dining room, we've got your parlor or your great room here. And this
Yeah,
is
they have
decorated
so many,
in typical 17th century
faces.
French decor. Again, everything you see in here is authentic. For
very
example,
opulent.
this is a portrait of Marie Antoinette young, and then on the other
Okay.
side of Marie Antoinette old. This over here is actually the wheelchair
it.
of Marie Antoinette's son. His actual wheelchair.
Oh my
he had a
God.
disability, and this is what he used to get around. And that's actually a painting of
It's a
him right above
beautiful-
here.
it's a beautiful
I want to also point
chair
out that
as
the
well.
typical French living room in the 17th century was decorated like this, where it's the opposite of minimalism.
It's the opposite
Every
of, like,
piece the
what's
wall is
on fashion
covered
these days.
in art, the furniture from the
That's why they had a
formal living room.
revolution.
We've got the pool hall.
It's so
And this is an
opulent.
original pool table from Louis XIV. His doctor actually prescribed that after he ate to play pool to help
What?
with his indigestion.
Of course,
And
like
this
the
is his
sport.
original table here, just chilling in the chateau. Then at the
Kind of
end
silly to me. I
here,
thought the pool was something
again, this
recent.
typically is
You know, they had
closed
pool
off
back in the
because
day.
this is actually where the owner of the chateau is living full time. So unfortunately, we can't tour that. If we look behind me, you can really see the entire length of this chateau here. And again, let's
God,
walk and
and that
talk.
painting,
They actually don't even
That
know
mural, what is that?
the square meters or the square feet of this castle. So formal living room, back into your dining room. And again, we don't know the actual square footage
I love
of
the
the chateau.
chandelier.
I would guess anywhere from 60 to 80,000 square feet.
I have
Off
no
of the
idea how
formal
much
dining
that
room,
is.
we're back to the main stairwell area.
Again,
And this
like,
is
it's the size of a
the
city.
ballroom
I don't
in
know.
the chateau.
a ballroom.
If you look up all the artwork on the ceiling, you have beautiful crown molding. This is
Oh my God,
all
it's like the
gold
16th
leafed.
chapter. It's just,
Every
I don't
single
know.
detail in here. Again, over 30 years it took to design everything out to be as if you were in 17th century France here. I really want to point out the level of detail on the gold leafing here. It's on the walls, the ceilings, and even if you look up, you have this artwork on the ceiling here
Again, the 16th
with the
chapel.
angels, the chandeliers. These are all crystal chandeliers here. These
Is it
bronze
marble?
statues. Again, we don't know the individual value of certain pieces, but the total sum is $1. Out of the ballroom here, we're now entering the home office, the study. Original desk here,
Okay, so
original
you don't have a
chairs.
computer there.
Again, look at the ceiling here. You've got beautiful artwork on the ceiling, the gold leafing throughout.
my
And
God,
again,
this is one of the most
the
impressive
entire
ones.
wall space is covered with original
chateau
art from the French
paintings.
Revolution. Every room in the chateau also has a wood-burning fireplace because back in the day, it's the only way you're going to
Of
heat this
course,
place.
You're gonna have a fireplace
So
everywhere.
from the office, we have a little hallway which connects us to the king's chambers. So this is where the king of the chateau slept, right here. For instance, as far as the artifacts, these two boxes on either side are from Imperial Japan. That's
Okay.
original silver there with the artwork.
I'm gonna say again something that may sound crazy. It's kind of small, right? Like I was expecting something very big, especially compared to the other things. And this bed looks, honestly, it looks tiny. It looks so tiny. It's not made for someone tall, but maybe back in the day, I know that people back in the day weren't like that tall. But I'm surprised by how small it is compared to like you have the space. You can put like a huge bed in here.
On those boxes here, over top, crystal chandelier, fireplace. Again, just look at the gold
my God,
leafing detail here.
Is that a
on
chair?
every
Why is
single
it so
wall.
big?
Super impressive. Leaving the king's bedroom,
I love
back
this
on
like a
through
balcony
this
in the
private
bedroom.
hallway, into the study room.
Where's the dressing
off of
room
here.
and the bathroom?
This is pretty wild. Welcome to
More hallways.
your double height ceilinged library here in the chateau. Take a look
Oh.
at this.
This
There's
is like out
over
of dreams.
20,000
Oh my God.
rare books in here. You've got catwalks
First
surrounding the
editions,
library
of
on the
course.
second floor, open to the floor down below. 20,000 historical books in here. And at either end of the library, there's two mummies. This is an actual human body, mummified from Egypt,
I don't
in
know how
this
to feel
house in
about
France.
the mummy.
That is wild. I even saw voodoo dolls at that end. And these look like spell books, so
I wouldn't mess around with those.
There's no words for this. That's why it's truly like you can't put a price on this. And with that said, we don't actually know the true value of this estate. We can only guess.
Oh, okay.
There's also hidden doors throughout the entire home. And these are only the ones that we've been showing. I'm sure there's a lot more.
My God.
Check out what's behind here. This is the game room where we have an ostrich skeleton, turtles on the walls.
No, a giraffe?
A panther.
Oh my God.
We haven't even gone up here yet, and I'm curious. Let's check out what's up here. The whole wall is lined with tortoise shells.
Crazy. No,
We're now
this
going up
isn't
into one of the towers of the chateau.
I don't want to know if they're real. I'm leaning towards they're real. That makes me like,
Oh, there's no lights in there. I'm not going in there. Come on, let's check it out.
He's like, I'm not getting there. Like, this
Got some
dark room. Who
pheasants.
knows what can come up? You know?
What the heck?
Yeah. Well,
This
and
is
more
actually
doors
crazy.
that he's not opening because, of course, like, I don't know. I think I'm scared. Okay, what is it? Is it like
Could
an
you
attic?
imagine? Look at this. Could you imagine if this was your bedroom?
Love it.
And to get
That
to your
would
bedroom, you had to walk through the game room, through the secret passageway in the library.
I
Again,
love
there's
it.
40 bedrooms in this house. This is one of 40. You saw the king's room.
I love
Check out
this.
the bathroom.
Yeah, I went into the bathroom.
A
I wanna
tub.
see it.
Fit for royalty with a view of the gardens here.
I love the views of the
All right,
garden.
let's head out of this bathroom.
I love the bath. The bathtub is like very high.
And it's tough because we can't really show you every single bedroom. I think this is the blueprint of the castle here on the wall. You can just see how large it is. I honestly think
wanna
it's
live
probably
there.
more
I want this
than 60,000 to
bedroom.
80,000 square feet. I'm thinking closer to 100,000 because there's rooms that I'm sure we will not even see or have access to. So up this stairwell, there's another wing where there's more bedrooms, but we're gonna head back
More
down
bedrooms.
past all these dead beetles,
Oh no.
turtle shells. I want to point out also, like, I was kind of it's kind of jarring to see all this. It's a bit antiquated having dead animals on your wall like this, but I guess
agree.
back in the day, in the 17th century,
It
this was the
normal,
norm.
but that doesn't make it.
finally
We
back
have different
downstairs.
sensibilities.
Yeah,
Oh my
there's so
god.
much here. Oh, we're locked.
A shark.
Yeah,
No,
we're
it's not a
locked. We
shark.
have to go back the other way. All right, we made our way back down. We're now at the lower level of the
Okay.
library. So if you look up, you can see the wraparound
This is so
balcony
incredibly tall.
and just the height of the ceiling in here. And again, these are all books from the mainly 18th and 19th century. Lots again of French Revolution pieces. Now out of the library, there's a back hallway which connects the front hallway here, which we're going to go to right now, where we left off upstairs when we were locked up there in the dead zoo, I guess you could call this.
The dead zoo.
Not going to show too much of this, but maybe just a little quick shot down this hallway to get the perspective of
There's more birds.
the dead
Oh,
zoo.
No, there's so
Pretty
much
gnarly.
animals. So much. Yeah, it's so many
And this
dead
is,
animals. I don't know what.
For perspective, we were up there and this was locked. So if we continue on, there's a little room here. I'm not even sure what this is for, but this
Are the floors like?
is
Are they?
the
Is it
chapel
marble?
in the chateau. This is a proper church that just happens to be
Of course.
in the chateau.
Why is that
Again, you
like
got the
right
double
next
height
to
ceilings
the?
here.
I was
Got
expecting
the
to be this.
altar,
I don't know.
all these
somewhere
religious
else.
relics in
The
here.
location.
And I'm not going to begin to even try to explain any of this just because I really don't even know. And I feel like most people here don't know because there's just so much. There's so many artifacts
There's so many things
from all
to
over the
explore.
world. And just, I don't really have much to say about this part. It's really intense. The dead
Oh,
zoo,
no, up
animals from all over the world
I do
mounted
not.
in this hallway.
Oh no, there's a gorilla.
Comment down below what you think of this.
I want to cry.
pretty intense.
Seeing those dead animals makes me want
But
to
now
cry.
we're back to the main foyer right there. And what's down this door is actually pretty crazy. So we're now going subterranean in the chateau. And as you come down here, instantly it's like 5
How
to
is
10
this man not
degrees
getting
cooler
lost?
than upstairs. And this is where the kitchen is in the chateau. Because back in the day, kitchens weren't something that you would show off. The kitchen was below the home where you would store the firewood. You've got the pans
and it was
here.
kind of like hidden.
They even have those subterranean windows you can let in light. And if you peek in here, this
But what
is
is that
traditionally
thing?
what it would be like and where the staff would be living. Because it is the warmest part of the house. So the beds are in the kitchen here.
Oh my god, really?
And I was told that the biggest cause of fire in these chateaus was here in the kitchen. So that's why someone would be sleeping here at all times in case things went crazy. But this is set up in the way it would be in 1650.
This is authentic. I love it.
And then if we continue on, the ceiling gets a little lower. There's
everything
another
was
area
made for
over here
like
where you
smaller
would be
people.
butchering your meat. You have all the quail hanging, a boar for dinner. Going even further back, getting even colder. This is the
Oh my
wine
God.
storage here.
Yeah, I was gonna
actual wine
wonder about the
cellar.
wine.
And at the very end, this is pretty crazy. This is where you would store your fruit from the summer. So you would harvest all your apples in the fall, bring them down here for the winter,
That's
and they would
what's
stay
cool.
preserved just because the temperatures are so cool. And then even in this room, there's a fireplace
didn't
to
have
heat the
fridges.
place. And then there's actually another stairwell at the back of the kitchen, which leads us up. And instantly it gets warmer. It's pretty incredible how the subterranean kitchen actually cools the food. And now we're back where we were by the chapel and the dead zoo. For reference,
Yeah, it's
we're
sort of
back
like
in the
it
foyer.
turns
That's
around,
the
I
front
think.
door. This is the back door, which leads into the chateau courtyard, which is super impressive, especially from the view of the drone, seeing how large this courtyard is in comparison to a human, or even had the car pulling up earlier.
human.
And here you get the true perspective of the chateau. So behind me, that's where we're sleeping. That's actually for rent, so you can actually rent those rooms out and stay here. There's a restaurant
How
off to the
much?
left here, and then behind me,
A restaurant.
this is where the owner lives. So we haven't even toured this entire wing, and we haven't even toured the wing behind us here for perspective of just how freaking huge this chateau is. Of everything we've seen, what was the craziest, the most impressive, the most beautiful thing that you saw? Again, I want to thank the teams at Barnes International for giving us the opportunity to come out here to Normandy and share something that no one has really seen up until this point. If you're new here, subscribe, give the video a like, and with that, we will see you in the next video.
Wow. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. I'm processing everything. This is insane to me. There's so many things that are insane, but this is specifically, at the most, like the forefront of my mind is the question of how was he able to afford this? Not the ones that are buying this. How does Jacques, I think that was his name, that the architect that owns this, how was he able to purchase all of those things? Because it's like, again, I'm like, of course you're gonna have like an added value, but of course, like, this costs like so much money. Just obviously all the priceless artifacts that he has, well, that the house has, the chateau has, but not just like the actual art that there is, all the sculptures, the mummies, like the voodoo dolls, all of those things, and obviously all the there was like so many paintings, like the carpets, like the tapestries, like there were so many like little details, all the lamps, the chandeliers, all the little like trinkets and stuff. Not just that, but the actual, because again, I'm wondering, because when he bought it, he had to do like some remodeling, as in like maybe the house, I think there was a bit of like a falling apart situation. I am so curious to know, like, how much did he purchase it from? Like, how much money was it? Like, there was a lot of, I'm guessing obviously it was like a priceless thing. Even if it was like a rundown castle, those aren't cheap. And I know maybe you would think, well, it was 30 years ago, maybe it's a little bit cheaper. Yes, of course, but again, it's not like, it doesn't cost $5. So, I want to know, like, how was he able to afford that? Maybe he was like a very famous guy, and he had like a lot of money, but he had to invest in this. And did he do it like all on his own, or did he had some, was it something like an investment, a sort of, a few people got together and he was in charge of the project, and because he owns it, like he's the one that lives there. Some people, like, it was subsidized by the government. I don't know. I'm so curious. Again, it costs so much money that I want to know about the money situation. How, like, who can afford this? Well, afforded this. How was he able to actually invest in this? Because again, it was a crazy, like, this is an insane project to actually tackle in your lifetime. And, I'm glad that he did. That, it's a one thing to have, like, I have a lot of dreams, and, to actually, like, the execution, I don't really have the money to actually, to actually make a reality, make those dreams a reality. And I'm wondering, again, was it just like a very rich guy that, he happened to be an architect, but he was, he already had money, and he had money to burn, and he was like, what a wonderful, like, I can't think of like a better thing to do than to actually like restore this castle to its glory. Or did he have outside help? I'm like, that's actually like the most insane to me is the money, because again, it's like the most expensive, like it's the most expensive house. I want to know again who, like, the money itself, like where did it come from? Because they only speak about him like jocks, so it is crazy. They mentioned like it's on sale. It's crazy because it's like so big. I want to know how, again, the city, like how is it compared to a city? Like I wonder, like, is it as big as a small city? I'm guessing, but a very small town. I think probably there's towns that are smaller than this, but I would love the actual scale of, can you tell me like how, like in the distance, how long is it, like to walk from one end to the other, like in walking distance, how long would it take you, like in the actual real life world? It would be like the same as walking from, like Brooklyn to like Queens. I don't know, something like, again, I want to know, like, to actually understand like the scale of this. But it looks so big, and I have so many questions about it. Like, someone apparently wanted to buy it, and he was like, "No, I reject your offer." It's like, oh my god! So literally, money cannot buy this. He kept saying like it's priceless, and yes, technically I get what he means, like the whole experience is priceless, but it does cost money, like it's expensive. So I like it, but I like the fact that he sort of like betos everyone, like it's not just anyone can say like, oh, I want to buy this because I have the money and I'm super rich. The guy has to actually like give you permission and be like, you know what, I think yes, you are I bestow upon you like the great honor of owning this, because again, it's crazy. But I like that he apparently wants to, like, his idea is to actually like preserve it and to actually like to open it to the public. But I think the thing is so freaking big that you can do anything you want to. Like, you can make it a museum. You can also like, actually sell parts, like a wing. That's sell those part of that wing, and you can actually, have your own thing of like this part, this area is mine. There's like so many things. He also mentioned like apparently you can rent, like this was the part that you can rent. I'm so curious to see, like, okay, but how is it exactly? How much did it cost to rent this? Because I was expecting it to be, because it's a chateau, I guess it's not like I'm going for the weekend. I don't think that's like that. Or is it like, it's a lease, I'm staying there a year? I don't think that's the case. I think it's more like renting for events, like the weddings, parties, something, again, where you actually like need. I think actually, like, even parties, maybe someone's super rich, but I think most people, even if they're rich, I would think if you're renting something like this, it would be for an event like a wedding, because, you want your wedding to be like very lavish, and also you always need to have a lot of rooms, so it's perfect for all your guests. But it's like, okay, I'm wondering that's sort of like the situation. But if I want, can I just rent a room for the weekend? If I'm like, I want to see, I'm so curious about this, can I just rent it for the weekend? Or again, it's not like that. Or whether you can just sort of like, I get it, you can just sort of like rent it, because whatever you do with that, it's like, it's on you. Like, I get, if it costs like $50,000 to actually rent this for 3 days, and if I rent it, like, they don't really care whether or not you're having a wedding, a party, or you just like, I want to rent it on my own because I don't know, I want to know how it is. And maybe it's a thing of like, maybe it's like that. But as normal people, is it like for normal people? Like, can I, a normal regular person that's not incredibly rich, can I afford this? If I, it's between the range of like something that's affordable for people. I would love to know, because it's an incredible experience. If I ever, again, I don't know how much it costs, so I don't know. I'm not gonna venture to say anything. That is, if it's something that, yes, most, probably people can, you can save some money and actually stay there. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, this looks incredible. Or maybe because, again, maybe it's not as if I'm imagining it, and again, maybe it's like, no, they don't really rent it out for like, for two people for just one weekend. No, they rent it out for like big weddings, big events. And of course, when you're renting something like this, again, you're not renting like your local hotel, so it is quite expensive. Probably it's not for the whole or for the majority of the population. But again, I'm so curious, because you can actually like not build, the whole thing is already built. You can open like a hotel in a room in part of the chateau, and still you can have like the guy can still live in these apartments and the whole thing can be open to the public and you're still gonna have like rooms left because it's so like this scale of this is so big that you can do anything basically. It's like you can do everything you want to with this, which is, it's crazy. I would also love it to be like they sort of like mentioned, because the guy said, the owner Jack said, I want this to be open to the public, which of course, after spending like 30 years remodeling this and, purchasing like this incredible pieces of art and sculptures and all the art that this castle, this chateau actually has, I would imagine he's like, this was made to be seen. He's like, yes, of course, it's going to be open to the public because people want to go there. I want to go there. I would definitely go as a tourist. Like, I would definitely go there if that was like they open a museum there. I would definitely go to Normandy if I ever went to France. Like, I would definitely go there just to visit this chateau because it looks incredible. So yes, if they had a museum, I would definitely go there. So I wonder, because this was maybe, I don't know how old this video is, but if it's sort of like older, I don't know what the statue of like this, is it open? Is it the same sort of like logistics that they had, back when they recorded this? But if it is like, I wanna like open a museum. It looked incredible. I think my favorite part, like, I wouldn't know where to start. The greenhouse, was something incredible. I think I would love to know, but maybe that's me thinking of not asking someone that lives there, but again, thinking as a tourist, because I'm imagining it's like a museum. I would want to go to one of those, like, it's like a greenhouse where you have the name of the plants and they'll like tell you like what it is. Maybe they can do something of like QR codes or something, or you can just like grab your phone, not to like, because I think it takes away from the immersion if you have the little sort of like the little cards that tell you like what every plant is. But maybe they can have like a QR code or something where you could just like pull out your phone and be like, oh, this variety of fern is, and it tells like the history of the ferns or the trees or whatever. I would love that. And yes, I love the Grotto Temple. I think it looks kind of scary. I love it. I would definitely go and take a look at the whole thing. But also, it's a little crazy. They look like straight out of a cult of like we're making sacrifices, and of course, I think that's on purpose. I think the parties that they probably can get around to making there are pretty wild. I'm just gonna leave it like that. But it looked insane. I love the grotto. I think the Indian Palace. I don't know. I wouldn't know what was my favorite, like the Indian Palace or the actual like chateau. I think the Indian Palace was incredible, and yeah, like 10 rooms. It's like that could be a hotel just on its own. Like that would be an hotel, a very successful hotel. But I think my favorite was not even the King's Room. I think the King's Room was very special, but I got disappointed. Well, not disappointed, but I was like, oh, come on, you can have like a king bed in here. Why is the bedroom so small? The bedroom itself, it's kind of small. The actual, again, the bedroom itself, like it wasn't that big. It's like I think the office desk situation was actually bigger, which I'm like surprised about. But I think maybe they're going with the times, and again, the bedrooms were probably like a little bit smaller, and the beds as well, because I think people were just like smaller in general, like they weren't that tall. So maybe that's obviously they want to preserve that. But I think my favorite, even if that was the King's Room, I think it was the hidden one. I love the hidden one that you can just access from across like the library, and it was like a hidden passage, and you had to like, I didn't love all those dead animals. I get it. It looks like a museum, and it is sort of like it is technically a museum. I wouldn't feel like comfortable with all those dead animals. Makes me kind of sad, and I'd rather not dwell on it. But the actual like room itself, it was lovely. I loved it. It was so gorgeous. It was like, it's hidden, and it's very quite cozy, which is it's a wild thing to say probably in a huge chateau of like this, I don't know, 1,000-acre property with like 40 rooms. Is like, it's a crazy thing to say. But it looked cozy. It was because it was very sort of like, I don't know, separated from everything else. And I loved it. Yes. And you can just sort of like rent this and still, like he said, you can spend a week here and still be exploring everything, and still like, oh, there's rooms that I really didn't really explore. And not just that, but the whole like art, like it surprises art. It's like, oh my god, I want to know like who made this painting, this like where the history behind it all. Like, what are those books? Are those first editions? Like, what are they? All those incredible like chandeliers. I want to know the history of it all. The tapestries. I want to know. I would actually want to know how did he source this? And again, you know, the catalog for everything. I think that would be like the most interesting part of me. So maybe I wouldn't even have to go. It's just like, tell me like the history behind like all these incredible pieces. Maybe that's only allowed. I don't know. They would only release that information if you actually like, you know, make a purchase. But I would love it to like for them to like release it to the public, because I'm guessing again he's an architect. Like the records are there, like the incredible sort of like the how like where did this come from? Where does the sculpture came from? All those, you know, those dead animals, even the dead animals had to come from somewhere. So who actually like again where does this belong to? I don't know. It's a crazy situation. Oh, and speaking about crazy situations, I didn't really understand why they didn't have electricity, because obviously at chateau like this, you know, it's, you know, you need to have lights. So it is crazy to me that it was like, no, they had to like bring an overnight like a light or some other lamp. It's like, how come doesn't the whole chateau has electricity? That's a little crazy. And also I want to know like the kitchens that he showed are the actual kitchens of this. Although maybe they don't really have like that necessity. They don't have that need, because because the man Jax lives in another wing of the house, and obviously he is gonna have his own kitchen. But you know, does the other part like have a kitchen? I wonder, or they used the one that they showed. It wasn't just for show. Do they actually like? No, of course not, because they need to have an actual fridge. I blanked out for a second. No, of course. It isn't like the 15th century anymore. Like we have modern appliances that we need. So I'm wondering, I would actually like to know where the kitchen is. And it always is a modern kitchen. So is it like hidden? I don't know. We'd love to know like the little details. This is an incredible video. Left me speechless. Incredible for sure. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.